Bring your own guitar, old buddy. Bring your old guitar. We'll talk and drink and laugh and sing, but bring your own guitar.
You know, we're a couple of old farts. I can't remember what it was like. And the only thing I remember is the Gong Show. Were there any celebrity shows? Were there any shows where you could get discovered in your prime? Were there, you know, like we got all these shows now?
There was one big show back in the early 80s called Star Search with Ed McMahon from Johnny Carson's
I remember Ed
sidekick.
McMahon.
He was the host, and that was the only game in town. If you got on that show and you got a record deal, you were on your way. And the first one to win it, and the big act that came out of it was Sawyer Brown, a country band on Curb Records. Mark Miller, right? And they had a pretty long career. I was on the same record company as them back in the 90s, and they were into their 10th year of winning that show and still running down the road.
So when you were young and just starting out, did you have an aspiration of trying to get on Star Search?
Yeah, it was a thought. It was like, man, if we get on Star Search, we could get something going. And then, I met a couple of guys like, don't do that. They talked me out of it and talked me into playing in the bars, which was an amazing idea.
So do you think that we got all these different TV channels now? When we were growing up, you had 3 channels, maybe 4.
Yeah, we had 3.
But you got all these different channels, and they all got some kind of celebrity show. You think it's easier for up-and-coming talent to get discovered now as opposed to then?
Yeah, I think just with social media, there's so much more availability of getting your face out there somewhere and getting your music out there somehow. But yeah, all of those shows that have come in the last 10 years have just opened the door up to so many great new talents. And they're finding some great singers. I mean, they're finding some great singers.
The thing I think that for sure, but they also, there's so many of them, there's such a glut that sometimes like, how did they get on this show? They don't even have time.
Well, you're always going to have, yeah.
Back in your day, you actually had.
Well, and back in the day, I hosted one of those shows, Nashville Star, when it was on NBC with John Rich, and it was me and him and Jewel, and I was one of the judges. And behind the scenes on a TV show, you kind of go, wow, that guy's really good, but the production crew had their eyes on this other act that wasn't as good because they had quite a story and a drama that was part of the deal. The drama was part of the show. And so I got to see, you're back there watching the sausage get made, and it's like, oh, man.
All right.
This guy's the best guy, and he's not going to win, that kind of stuff.
Obviously anybody that watches this show, and guys, welcome to BYOG, Jeffrey and Jason, here to talk a little music. And so Jeff's finding out why I'm the host of the show is because I know how to segue into the guest. This takes a real talent.
It does.
So I get you making small talk about these shows. And then it sets up for us to have a guest like Craig Wayne Boyd, who won the 7th season of The Voice. See what I did there?
Yeah, you just kind of.
Yeah, this is so
That was smooth, man. That was smooth.
Right in the front door.
Yeah. Craig, welcome to
Welcome,
BYOG.
Craig.
Oh, thank y'all.
Bring your own
Thank y'all for
guitar.
having me, man.
It's awesome. I got to say, not only is Craig an amazing singer, an amazing talent, but he stays in the gym because the guy just carried the largest guitar I've ever seen in my life.
With the guitar case. The guitar case.
If a big guitar case, there's got to be a big guitar in there.
A lot of padding.
Yeah. Anyway, Craig, were you? Did I remember this right, Buttertalk? Were you just in Australia or?
This week I just landed back from Norway.
Norway.
Yeah, sure enough.
Wow. What was popping in Norway?
That was my first experience to get to go over there to share the honky tonk. Was playing some festivals over there, and then
fun.
Early in the week went out and hit kind of down the west coast of Norway at little mom and pop shops, and all of them were sold out. It was just absolutely amazing.
I bet it was. I bet that was just a really fun time.
I didn't know what to expect going over there.
Yeah.
It was just mind blowing.
Your first time there, or
First time there, and again. The fans over there are just hungry for country music. Country music is a newer thing for them. Country music is distinctly American. And walking out on the main stage, there's like 8,000 people or so in front of me, and they're screaming every word from the get-go,
Wow.
from the kickoff of the first song. And I'm like, man, these guys did their homework. This is crazy. It was very flattering and humbling.
Yeah. What is Norway like? Particularly this, is it warm over there? Is it winter? For some reason,
I walked out with a sweater on at 60 degrees, and everyone else is in shorts and tank tops.
Yeah, they're used to it, right?
That was hot for them. But I will say the culture there in Norway is distinctly different from the other parts of at least Scandinavia and Europe that I have experienced. It's like the Bible Belt, so it's very much the South. Which I grew up in. And
Wow.
So there was a lot of camaraderie there.
Yeah.
all right. So let's start.
fascinating.
Let's start where we started. You win The Voice, the 7th season. What year is that?
That would have been 2014, the end of 2014.
24.
Wow,
Did it do for you what you've imagined winning that? And next thing you know, I'm going to be Johnny Cash. I'm going to be.
Well, I'll back up even further. I had a career in the rock music industry back in Dallas, Texas, before I moved to Nashville. I discovered. I tried to go out on my own as a solo guy, going to put out a rock project, and all my buddies were like, "Dude, you have too much twang in your voice." I was like, "Well, that's natural. I can't help that."
Oh, that's funny.
And so I come to Nashville and visited with a feeble stack of songs, and they said, "Must be present to win." And so I moved to Nashville in 2004. And so I had been in Nashville
So you were knocking
for
around
10
here.
years. I had quickly gotten a publishing deal as a writer. I was writing for EMI as a staff writer there for within 7 months of moving to Nashville. And that kind of cut my teeth writing songs, and was in a couple of different vocal groups. Boy Howdy was like one of my favorites back then.
Everybody they're just trying to butter you up. They're just trying to butter you up.
But I always looked at myself as being a vocal guy, and like being in a vocal group was my thing. And when those things fell apart in the studio, I branched out and went honky tonkin' for about 4 or 5 years, from Minot, North Dakota, all the way down to Key West, Florida.
Oh, yeah.
Hitting every honky tonk that would have me, and that is what led me into. Got into a small record deal, had a single out on the radio, and they lost their funding. That put me back on the street again. I'm like, okay, now I'm 9 years into being in Nashville. What should I do? I've been always that guy of nose to the grindstone. I'm going to hit every honky tonk. There's no quick way, cheap way to do this. But then within a couple of months, I got an email asking if I was interested. They'd seen the music video. They said, "We know you're not in a record deal. Are you interested in being on The Voice?" And I was like, "Yeah, right." Was my immediate response, and that's what I sent them. They said, "No, we are serious."
Did you mean that in a sarcastic way?
Yeah, no, I meant it as in like I thought it was a joke.
thought it was a joke, yeah,
it was a
yeah.
casting company reaching out. I was like,
Yeah.
"Okay, yeah, right. This is some, a prince in Nigeria has some money for me." That was what I was thinking.
Yeah.
And but lo and behold, it was real. And so I took all that jadedness that I was feeling and just put that aside, and was like, I'm going to go do this. I'm going to put my heart into it. I'm going there to learn. And I think that attitude and mentality is probably what took me to the top of, and then ultimately winning The Voice.
Did it do for winning The Voice? Meet your expectations as in terms of the doors it opened for you?
I think that's when the work really started for me. I was
Like when you first went in, like, were you thinking like, man, I could win this? Or were you just thinking like, I got to figure out what I'm doing here? And
interestingly enough, I put all that aside. I knew that I had a leg up because I was a seasoned guy.
Yeah.
Versus some of the other folks that were on there.
Yeah, you'd have a lot of experience.
But there was some kids on there that could just sing acrobat. I mean, their vocals were crazy. And so I quickly decided on my own self that I was like, all right, I know what I can do, and I know what I do really well. I'm going to stick to that. I'm not going to try to compete in any form or fashion. Yeah. And those kids that didn't have that stamina, I was there to like, hey man, this is the tricks I've learned, and I would just kind of share. So I ended up being
mentor too.
They ended up calling me Uncle Craig on the show.
That's cool. That's cool.
And I wasn't, I think I was the second oldest guy on that season, even at 34 at the time. I was still one of the old guys. And it was really cool for me, though, to be able to impart the knowledge that I had from being in the industry. I mean, I started full time at 19, and this is the only job I've ever had. It's playing music and writing music. So yeah, it was a cool experience.
Who were the judges on the show at that time?
That season, of course, Adam and Blake were there.
Yeah.
The corner guys.
Yeah.
And then we had Gwen Stefani's first season.
That's right.
And then Pharrell.
Yeah.
And for me, it was Pharrell that turned around first, and then Blake Shelton. And it was very interesting for me. I was like, Pharrell's interested in this. Let's see. And then I had done some of my research.
You came in country guy, right?
Yeah, I came in as a country guy. I'm singing Whiskey Ain't Working, Travis Tritt.
Yeah,
That's where it was at for me. And so it was interesting, and I thought about it for a second, but I mean, you have to dance with the one that brought you, and country music is what had brought me to the show. Right. So that's why I made that decision.
Awesome.
I'm going to make a sports analogy because that's what I do from time to time. There's a narrative and a theme that people that play football because they're no good in basketball. And that, jocks kind of, Whitlock, you're not tall enough to be a basketball player. Go play football. And so that's what I did.
Right.
Was there a time when, because he started out in rock, you started out in rock, was there a time when it was like, okay, go country, that country's kind of like football? Because I don't think that's where we're at.
That's a great
I don't
question.
think that's where we're at now. I think when Beyonce's running to be country, it's like, well, actually, this is the cool thing to be. But maybe there was a time when it's like, well, you didn't make it as a rock, but you got.
That's a great question. And over the years, like for me, my dad was beating me over the head, listening to Johnny Cash, and I was listening to Led Zeppelin and Queen, and he just kept saying, you got to listen to Merle Haggard, you got to listen to Johnny Cash. And I finally did, and I saw a Willie Nelson movie that he put out, and I flipped. I flipped for the common man lyric, the story that I wasn't getting on the rock and roll side. And I was starting to realize that I was kind of a writer guy, But if you look back at Conway Twitty, Johnny Cash, Charlie Rich, Behind Closed Doors, if you remember that song.
Oh, yeah.
All those guys were rock and rollers that didn't quite, nobody could catch Elvis at that time.
Yeah.
Right? You know what I mean? Like nobody could catch Elvis. A lot of those guys were good looking guys. They had the hair like Elvis. They had the look. But they weren't hitting it, and they all kind of just suddenly gravitated towards country music. So it's a great question, because
I was going to say
it does make sense that you're not tall enough to play basketball.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's the same kind of a thing. It's the same kind of a thing.
You get more girls as
I never really
basketball
thought of it that way. But
football players do well, but you get more girls as bad. And I'm sure country artists do well, but rockers.
Yeah.
And so, taking it to you, Craig, my impression now is, and a lot of this, not to be a groupie for anybody, but I just got to keep it real. Morgan Wallen, to me, has made country the coolest genre of music. When I see all these athletes that want to do the walkout with him and all that, it's kind of like I've seen it flip where it's cool to be country. I'm like, really cool to be country.
Yeah, I do agree with you on that. And I guess when I was coming up, similar to Jeffrey, my experience was my dad was a bluegrasser. And he was a banjo player, a monster banjo player. And my mom took me to church singing gospel music.
Yeah.
And so and then growing up in Texas, I had this twang that was already in my voice.
Like, what are you doing playing rock and roll?
Exactly. Yeah. So that was like, that was against the rules, but that's what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
It was, for me, it was a natural progression. I opened my mouth, and that bluegrass that I grew up on and that gospel music came out of my mouth, and rock music didn't want to deal with me. But I loved their music. So I just took their music and the vocal that was just my natural voice that came to me, and that's what I do now. And they label it country music.
Yeah. You grew up in the church, church choir?
I did. And in fact, one of the songs I'm doing for you guys is called Gospel of the South. And that song is one that I wrote from my experiences of growing up. And there was a moment where I was going back and forth. I did a lot of traveling those first 10 years back and forth from Nashville back to Dallas, and I was going through Memphis, Tennessee, and I had a red Chevy pickup truck, 1991, and was flipping the stations, and about the only thing you're going to get on the radio, on an AM radio station, is going to be rather Hispanic channels speaking Spanish, or you're going to get a preacher. And that day I got hung up on the preacher station, and that was my experience with Gospel of the South. I was going home, I was going through Memphis, when I heard a preacher on a Pentecostal radio. And he talked like fire, and he talked like thunder, but he talked to me like I'd lost my soul. It's been years, it's been miles, but I can hear it now. It runs through me like the Mississippi, and it turns me like a weather vane, and it points me down that gravel road to a field of tilted stones that hold my family's name. There's a song of sweet redemption, I can hear it now. Gospel of the South. I remember poor in an old farmhouse with a rusted Ford out in the backyard. And I'd ask my grandpa, how come it never rains? And how come this ground is so dang hard? He said, boy, it's the good Lord's will. And then he'd wipe his brow. Yeah, and it runs through me like the Mississippi, and it turns me like a weather vane, and it points me down that gravel road to a field of tilted stones that hold my family's name. There's a song of sweet redemption, I can hear it now. It's the Gospel of the South. Well, that house is gone, but I see a young boy in a shirt and tie, dressed up for revival, in the back of my daddy's truck, full of empty beer cans, but in my mama's hand, a beat-up Bible. They put me down that muddy water, I can taste it in my mouth. Yeah, and it runs through me like the Mississippi, and it turns me like a weather vane, and it points me down that gravel road where I left my sins in a shallow grave. There's a song of sweet redemption, I can hear it now. It's the Gospel of the South. It's the Gospel of the South. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound. Yeehaw.
That's pretty cool.
You say you're dry. When did you actually sit down? The idea came to you. When did you actually sit down? What was that process like to write that song?
I had the privilege of bringing it to two guys that helped me move to Nashville originally. I had met, in fact, one of the guys named David Lee. His mom saw me playing a show in Dallas.
Yeah, David Lee, Texas.
And yeah, sure enough. And
know him well, man.
his mom saw me play, and she was like, "You need to meet my son."
Oh,
And so my first visit to Nashville, I met
like
him.
the greatest guy.
And he put me in the room with, it was him and Tony Lane that helped me write that song.
Tony, oh, he's no.
What's
good,
the scoop on David Lee?
David Lee's an amazing songwriter. Tony Lane, he's not that great. Tony Lane's one of the best. Tony Lane. Gosh, two of my favorites right there. Yeah. And David and I have known each other years and years and years.
He's an amazing guy.
Yeah, he's an amazing guy.
He's been my
kind
of my mentor.
He came through a big accident, a couple of years ago.
Yes.
He got into a moped wreck at the
Didn't
Key
know
West Songwriter Festival.
Didn't know if we were going to have him around.
We didn't know if
anymore.
we were going to have.
It was
Yeah,
like,
we almost
it was
lost
crazy.
him. Yeah, but he's doing good now.
The Jeff, I hate to say this, but before the show, Craig was telling me about his first experience or his experience with you, and just how inspirational and just how much he's probably lying again. He's probably trying, but I'll let him explain.
Well, it's pretty wild for me because moving to town, I didn't know anyone. Mm-hmm. I knew David, and he was, and I had met Tony. But those guys were at such a level that I didn't want to interrupt them because they were doing their thing, and I knew that I was basically coming to college, and I was coming in my class, and I got in where I fit in with I mean, now it's crazy to mention these names because I'm not name dropping, but it's the guys I kind of come up with.
Yeah.
Was Randy Houser and Jamie Johnson, and Jared Neiman, and Ken Johnson. I think you probably remember him. I used to play bass guitar.
I'm not much younger than all those guys. I wouldn't be sharing that.
Well,
he can lie. Those are old farts.
Yeah, and Ken, I talked to Ken the other day, as a matter of fact. Ken and Andy,
so that was the guys that I kind of got my wetting my feet in town with. But where was I at with that? I was telling you guys that those guys' names, but that's kind of where I was. Like, that was my class. I didn't want to mess with those guys and interrupt where that they were at. But But we would come out to your shows and watch you. And at the time I was singing, and I could sing any of the notes, but I didn't have the passion behind my voice. I was always nervous to let go of that. And going to your shows was that inspiration to me. Just like, you know what? I might not hit it right on point, but I'm gonna scream it until it's right there. Wow. And that's the attitude. I feel like you're one of those guys that's responsible for me
thank you
having that energy behind my voice.
My old man used to say one or 10,000 at your last show every time you go up there. So
and that was a great experience for me in my developmental years of being in Nashville. It was like going to see a Jeff Still show was like, that's it.
That's two for me today.
That's two, and that'll be more than enough. We won't go there again.
You know how my brain works when he was telling his. Seriously, where goes that mic at? When you were telling the story about going through Memphis, he said red Chevy. Red Chevy truck, 1991. I was thinking guitar in the back. My life just begun. I was already writing a verse when he was telling that story.
I love it.
Seriously, I'm always listening when people start talking in song. Part of being a songwriter, right? Like you can hear people talking in song, and you're like, oh, okay. I was already going over here on a verse.
So we'll finish that after the show, right?
Well, this young man is a great songwriter.
Yes, he's very good.
And he's got this other song that he's going to perform for us that I've heard a little bit of before. Sheehaw. This thing sounds major to me, but what do I know?
It's very interesting because the story starts very similar. Both songs came inspiration from flipping through radio stations. And this one, I was headed down to Muscle Shoals, Alabama, meeting up with one of my heroes, and I believe one of yours with Al Anderson, Big Al.
Big Al.
And,
oh, my God.
And James LeBlanc, who he and I have written many of songs with. So I was like, I need to have some great ideas when I walk into this room. So I was like, I'm going to listen through some stuff. I don't really want to get attached to anything on music, so I'm flipping through. I flip on talk radio. That's the wrong thing to do because at the time they were talking about a lot of the world politics and things that are going on, and they were on the conversation of pronouns. And it got me to thinking. I'm like, okay, well, what am I? Well, I'm a hee-haw, and I'm married to a she-haw, and I got about 5 yeehaws running around. And that is literally where the idea come. And I called Big Al. I was like, I know this is dumb.
Oh,
but
I know he loved it.
I'm about 45 minutes from you guys. I'll be there in about 45 minutes, but I got this idea about she-haw.
Yeah.
And we're just going to write a song of just a honky tonker about she-haw. And
love it, man.
and I walked in and that guitar lick was going. I was like, all right, there it is. Do a little honky tonking. She's whiskey from a wine glass, paper plate caviar, loves our tall Texas drink of water, beating on this guitar calls me her hee-haw. Talking about my she-haw. She got every redneck craning as she's scooting across the floor. My heart stopping, honky tonk angel, keep me wanting more, my little she-haw. Talking about my she-haw. She's my little blonde-haired, blue-eyed California dream. Country as a kudzu vine, but still an LA queen. She's Oklahoma sexy, if you know what I mean. Can I get an amen, y'all? Oh, for my little she-haw. She's classic, kinda sassy, but sorry boy, she's all mine. My high-heeled, hottie-toddy, certified genuine, talking about my she-haw. Talking about my she-haw. She's my little blonde-haired, blue-eyed California dream. Country as a kudzu, I'm still an LA queen. She's Oklahoma sexy, if you know what I mean. Can I get an amen, y'all? Oh, for my little she-haw. Woo! That's where we need the solo at. Oh, now, last call, pack it all up, take it back to the house, let that black slip hip slide all the way to the ground. Come on now, she-haw. Show me, she-haw. Well, now she's my little blonde-haired, blue-eyed California dream. Country as a kudzu vine, but still an LA queen. She's Oklahoma sexy, if you know what I mean. Can I get an amen, y'all? Oh, I said, can I get an amen, y'all? Oh, for my little she-haw. She-haw, y'all.
Was Big Al playing that guitar?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because that's what he does.
Yeah, that bow, bow, bow,
Yeah.
bow.
Now, Big Al, Big Al Anderson was in a rock band called NRBQ back in the late 60s, well, mostly in the 70s. And they were every rock and roll band that was famous at the time, from the Stones to the Beatles to you name it. That was their favorite band to go and see, NRBQ. All the rock stars would go see that band. They thought they were the greatest.
Yeah.
Big Al, notoriously one of the greatest guitar players. He's in Guitar Player magazine as one of the greatest guitar players of all time. He came to Nashville, got sober, came to Nashville, and became one of the biggest songwriters here. Is in the Hall of Fame now, and he taught me everything. Literally taught me everything I know.
So
amazing man, right? Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So how do you distinguish between an idea that makes you get on the phone and say, hey, I'm on my way, to, hey, that's a good idea, but I'm about to go out to dinner, or I got to go pick my kids up, or I'm going to take this nap. How do you know which idea is like, now I got to stop what I'm doing and pounce on it now?
Everybody has a way,
Yeah.
right? And everybody, you can explain. Like for me, and we talk about Big Al. First time I got with him in a room, I was scared to death because I knew who he was, and I was so excited to write with him. I was just so excited, overwhelmed, and I didn't have any ideas in my head that day. And as I was driving in through Green Hills, Tennessee, I was at a red light, and I started tapping this triplet on my steering wheel, just doing this drum thing. And by the time I got to Nashville, I was just saying, kissable, huggable, lovable, unbelievable, kissable, and playing it on the drums. So I get into the room, and Al asked me if I have any ideas, and he's just big guy, 6'5", scowling down at me. I said, well, I don't really have an idea, but I was tapping this thing, kissable, huggable, lovable, unbelievable, on my steering wheel. And he just looked at me with that scowl, and he goes, I love that. And we wrote a song called Unbelievable for Diamond Rio.
Yeah,
It was
it's
a
huge.
massive #1 song for about 8 weeks. It just went on and on and on. And I just remember seeing, I'll never forget the day I saw their the equipment trucks going down the road with this gigantic watermelon on the side that said Unbelievable. And I'm like, are you kidding me? That was the first time I'd seen like a name of something I'd written. But that's my thing, is like what I learned from him was like, you just let it fall out of the sky. Like he just heard me say that, and he just started playing a riff. And then we just started writing a song. Like we weren't sitting there looking at our phone going, okay, blah, 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 blah. It just fell out of the sky.
Yep.
And you write them every way, right? You
Yeah,
write them every
sometimes
way.
it's a
Sometimes you
labor of love.
manufacture it more, but when they really fall out like that, you can't deny them, and they come out that fast, and that's probably
That's what that one was. Yeah. Yeah. It was,
I know if you were with
yeah.
him, that's what happened.
That's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
That was an amazing experience for me.
Truly one of the unknown greats of Nashville songwriting, Big Al Anderson.
And so this She-Hall to me sounds like a brand, a business, a T-shirts.
I did go
t-shirts getting
trademark
made.
it already, and it was funny. This year has been my year of touring worldwide. I kicked off the year 3 weeks in Australia playing there.
Oh, how fun.
And then I had a 3-week run where I was through Sweden and Denmark, and then was over in the UK in the middle of that for a couple of big festivals. And that run through Sweden and Denmark is when I started actually playing just in acoustic shows, playing She-Hall. And it ended up, we have shirts out on the website for the Scandinavians only that say Swede Hall on them. They adopted it to Swede Hall. So yes, and I still haven't been in the studio to record this song yet. So I need to get in and record it. This is just a.
Let me give you my card.
I mean, seriously.
really quick.
I just want to be in the room so I can lie and say I helped write something on. But honestly, this is. When are you going to do something with this?
Hopefully soon. Hopefully soon.
hope so.
I just released an album called Tidbits that was just about a month ago. Gospel of the South was on that. I had written that way back. And I had always been the honky tonker guy that was hanging from the rafters. And it just never felt like it was the song for me to be putting out on a crazy honky tonk album.
Right.
And this album has been more reflective, more about my family and faith. And so I felt like it was time to actually share that song.
All right, so you've mentioned family and faith, and how many kids you got? How long you been married?
I have 5 kids.
Whoa.
Yes. All under the age of 13, 13 being the oldest, and 4 being the youngest.
You got any singers in there?
Quite a few.
Oh, well,
I'm in
boy.
trouble. I'm in trouble.
I joke with him downstairs. He's going to be the white Joe Jackson.
Exactly. I wish I could steer them in a different direction, but it's in their heart already. So, especially my 13-year-old, he's coming on really strong.
Oh, you
already.
can't stop
It's
it.
wild. Yeah.
You can't stop it.
Once it's in your blood.
Your wife, was she in the music business? Is that where you guys met? Or
Incidentally, I met her the day after I won The Voice. And she didn't have a TV, so she didn't have a clue what I was doing. And I met her at an industry event in L.A. She was down at the end of the runway, the red carpets. They had me out, the dog and pony show, and was doing my doing my stops, and I looked down at the end, and I had a songwriter friend with me from here in Nashville. And I looked at him. I was like, I think I'm going to marry her. He's like, nah, you're wishful thinking. And then we met that night, and we've been inseparable since.
I got to ask you a question now.
Me?
Because you're always on everything. You're always like right on everything. He said that when he met her, she said she didn't have a TV, so she never saw. You think she was lying? Come on.
That's a good question because I'm gonna keep it. I'm gonna keep it real.
Okay.
When Butters sent over the information, and I was looking, I was like, "Oh, wait, Craig's one of these sex symbol country stars or whatever," and so I'm. She probably didn't know who he was, but she knew what she was looking for.
She knew.
She wanted that little long hair.
She did.
Is he
She
a
did
rocker?
fall.
Is he
See now, she knew what she was looking for. That's the song title too.
It is, isn't it?
That's our first
pretty
co-write.
There we go. She
There
knew
you
what.
go.
She knew what she was looking for. He also he did a
she
little
was
humble.
looking for.
He did a little humble brag. I don't know if you caught that.
What?
But basically, he said he met her the day after he won The Voice. That was 2014.
Yeah.
And so they date, they get married, and so he's talking about in an 8 or 9 year window. Yeah. He's pumped out 5 kids.
You're right.
Not only did she know what she was looking for, when she got it, she was like, I'm open for business, baby. Let's get to work. I'm locking this down.
I love it.
You can't get out.
Am I turning red?
It's so awesome, though.
It's hot in here.
It's great to hear that. And 5 kids and being in the music business and trying to move forward, I know what that's like. So I got a lot of respect for that.
But luckily enough, she was somewhat in the industry, and she did go to Berkeley as a vocal major. Right. She didn't even tell me that she was a singer of any kind until we were together for like 6-7 months. Like, she kept that quiet. It was not what she was looking for, I guess. That part of it. Yeah. She wasn't trying to get into that.
So she never pursued.
Yeah, she never did pursue it.
Got 5 kids.
She hadn't had time
Before.
But I will say
Before that.
Yeah, I've been writing some duets and things, and I hope that we can. I've had her sing harmonies on the albums. This last album, she sang all the harmonies on that album with me. So she's got a phenomenal voice, and is
there anything to that down the road? Is that a duet?
Oh, absolutely. That's
like an act.
I think that's it's the progression that's headed that way.
Wow.
Jeff, Jeff may have to close his ears. Sometimes I talk secular. Now, I'm a Christian. I lean into my Christian faith and all that. But sometimes I got to talk. And so you may want to close your ears. But Craig is basically saying he's got a strong pimp hand. She fell in line. She got baby. Oh, baby, I need you to come out here and sing with me. She going to do that too.
See, it ain't like that.
He knows some guys run around their house. Some guys run their house. Yeah. Craig runs his house. You can learn some things, Jeffrey.
I hope I do after all these years.
Oh my goodness, I'm sweating like a stuck pig over here.
No, are you really?
It's a little toasty in here. Anyway,
no, I'm just messing with it.
You mentioned you've been overseas. Is that your first time being overseas, or because what I'm trying to judge is the reaction to country music overseas? Because when you talked about Norway and everybody knowing your song, it kind of goes along with there was a time when the whole world was kind of in love with rap music, and rappers would go overseas and blah, blah, blah. I really feel like that's what's going on with country. When people want a piece of American culture, they're actually looking for it in country music, because country music's the only thing out there. And I've only been a country music fan for 5 years. This is what this whole thing is about. Jeffrey schooling me. Him and Aaron Lewis did that song, Am I the Only One? And that just kind of knocked me off my feet. And I was like, oh man, this country, what have I been? I've been denying myself. But I see country as like the greatest exporter of real Americana.
Absolutely.
I agree.
Right now.
my experiences in going overseas started just about three years ago, and I've seen it quickly progress in the responses, the amount of people that are showing up to shows, and it's just mind blowing how they do that. I played a festival called the Yelling Festival, spelt with a J, in Denmark this past year, and you mentioned rap music. Nelly was the headliner. And they had a ton of Swedish artists in between, or Danish artists in between, and I was somewhere in the middle, and I was the only country guy on the festival. Only country, only
no
person,
national country
no
acts?
national country acts at all. I was the country act for the festival, but I had 5,000-6,000 people in front of me in my acoustic guitar,
and I bet they loved it, right?
They were eating it up.
Oh,
and so that was a really cool experiment to see, and I mean it was all ages and mostly young, and they were just eating it up. So that's what they're looking for.
It's part of my connection to Jeffrey. Obviously, a big part of it is faith-based. Jeffrey and I see eye to eye on Jesus Christ and all of that. But the other part of why I'm doing this with Jeffrey is to engage with the country artist and help them understand. Because I'm a culture critic. That's where I've made my name and all that. Trying to understand that you guys are in a position and I believe have the responsibility of telling the world what America was, is, aspires to be. You guys are the spokesman. I feel like we've gone, and I used to be a huge rap music fan, friends with, rattle off all the rappers I used to be friends with that I've distanced myself from now because I want America represented properly. Mm-hmm. And that's part of this show, bringing people to my house, have a drink with them, talk with them, and encourage them. Use your voice with your music and when you get in front of that microphone to represent us properly.
I will say I had an experience in Norway this last run. Mm-hmm. They had asked me about the week before if I was interested in participating in a church service on the Sunday after I was one of the headliners for the festival, and they said we're putting out tickets for free, but if you're interested in doing this, I said absolutely, count me in. And I have it on my Instagram. I was just in tears. There was 950 people that they allowed into that building, into the church building. Mm-hmm. And at doors, they were lined all the way down the street and around the corners just to come in for a church service. And they knew that there was a couple of Americans in there going to be leading worship. And that, to me, was the biggest and best experience that I had of all shows.
Awesome.
That's pretty amazing.
That's awesome.
That's amazing.
That was worth doing all the rest of it.
Yeah, I can
was for that experience.
Had you guys met before today, Jeffrey?
No.
Just briefly, like autograph line kind of stuff.
Yeah, but not hanging out or writing.
You were in line to get his autograph?
Yes.
I'm
a fan.
I was getting his autograph.
Listen, I'm introducing you to the major stars in country music. It's your job to introduce me to the major stars of country music.
I'm trying to.
It's all falling on me. It's. You guys would have never connected without me.
That's right.
I hope you remember to thank me for this.
That's right.
I just.
If we end up anything I write, I'm going to put your name on.
Please do.
But I'd prefer it if you were there with us.
When the W-2 or when the cash gets remember me then most.
I love it.
You think all this stuff is free, Jeffrey? You think I built this studio for free?
No, sir.
I haven't asked you to do anything in that regard. You got more money than me, but I don't. Do you see me asking you for money? Every time we go out to eat, I get the tab. And this guy eats more than I do. Anyway. Craig, thank you for making the time for us.
Let's have him sing something.
You've already unscrewed it up. We're going to cut that in. When we talked about She-Hall and that, we're cutting that in. We'll cut this out.
Okay. This is my first time doing it.
I love it.
Sorry.
Just let me hold your hand and I'll walk you through this. Craig, thank you so much. Appreciate you. Love your music. And he's about to be, and I done spilled my drink on my shirt and the whole thing.
Did you really?
Yeah. Anyway, he's about to be the biggest star in country music. Whenever y'all hear this She-Hall song that I co-wrote, gonna absolutely love it.
Just like that.
Just like that.
Just like that.
That's it, and that's all for us today on BYOG. We'll see you next time.
Bring your own guitar, old buddy. Bring your old guitar. We'll talk and drink and laugh and sing, but bring your own guitar.